Good morning, Austin New Church. Good morning. Come on in. Find a seat, take a deep breath. We got to vibe it out real quick.
Time's on its raven's wings, circles me endlessly, held by a silver string, forges gleaming. Show me the way. Show me the way again. Show me the way again. Show me the way again.
Lost in a blister cold, secrets kept in sand and stone, in a language I no longer know, cast away and left alone. Show me the way again. 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 Holiday.
Show me the way again. Show me the way again. Holiday.
Would you stand? Maybe roll your shoulders back a little bit. Release whatever you need from this week. Take a deep breath. It's so good to have our Sarah back. And Cam and Elliot, I just can't believe I get to do this. It's so fun.
Well, I know the thing you said wasn't really what you meant to say the other night, and that's okay. And I know you're chasing sleep, but it always seems to get away. It makes you crazy, and that's okay. There's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room. Some days I live in fear that I'll be the one to let you down, to disappoint you when you turn around. When I feel the waves come to take my breath away, you come and find me, and you remind me there's room, there's room, there's room. There's room, there's room, there's
I'll take you just the way you are.
No, take you just the way you are.
I'll take you just the way you are.
I'll take you just the way you are. There's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room, there's room.
Vindia.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vindia, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it, right? If you're new, we would love to know you a little bit better. We've got a QR code on the information on this little screen here for an information card that you can fill out. Please do. We want to know you better, so please give us your information and we'll reach out. Also, your gifts keep us going. So thank you so much for your generosity and your continued giving to us. You can donate anytime at this QR code right here, or you can go to our website, Austin New Church, /home/give, and we'll receive those gifts from you. There is a green room greet after service today. If you're new around here, swing by the black sheep room, the green room, take a right out of the sanctuary. It's the first door on the right on the other hallway, and we would love to chit-the-chat with you, get a time to meet the pastors, get a time to get a snack, sip a drink, and just fellowship. Parents, just make sure that you grab your kids before you pop on over. There is an online book club that is reading Paula Stone Williams' book, As a Woman, and they meet every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. If you're interested, we can get you more information. It's also on the website? On the website, yeah, great. After this week, maybe the last 2 years, we all need breathing exercises, right? Breathwork session is this Wednesday, April 22nd. At 7:30 in South Austin. We got details for you as well for that. If you want some more information, come talk to us after the service. Donuts are proof that God loves us, and so if you are looking for a way to get involved, the hospitality team is needing a few more folks to bring us coffee and donuts on Sunday mornings. So if you'd rather donate instead of being there back and passing them out, we can also take those donations as well. Email Tara, and she'll get you more information on that. Hey, our students are super rad. They are amazing, aren't they? And they're going to Beach Week. Our registration is open for Beach Week, and that's our version of summer camp for folks who are in grades 6 through 12. It'll be June 10th through the 14th, and it's just a great time to connect and be enriched for our students. So if you want more information on that, please grab some time with Melinda. She's around, or you can go to our website and grab some more information there. Sign-ups and more information on all of these announcements, I should have read that first, are in the weekly email, and they're also on the upcoming events page on our website. God is good always, and always God is good, right? So if you wouldn't mind turning and greeting each other and just saying one good thing that the Lord did for you this week, that would be great. Go ahead and take a few minutes to do that. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Sorry, the lights cut that one a little short. My wife is telling Mark a story on the front row of the time she kissed Karch Karai, so I'm tempted to leave the lights on a little longer. Mark's brother got picked up in the professional volleyball beach thing situation. I'm like, you have to ask my wife about the time she kissed Karch Cry. Does anyone in the room know who Karch Cry is? You're so young, I don't even know who you are. There's like 3 people who said, well, technically he kissed her, I guess, is the story we're telling ourselves. Next time you turn and greet, tell the times you kissed somebody famous, and that'll be all the introverts will be like, well, Facebook is interesting right now. Well, it's good to see you guys. We're going to start a little different today. I forgot to remind you, Pastor Catherine, there is a mic around. Let's have Mark run it around. You might want to bring those lights back up. I'm going to start with a question. I want to begin today with a question. We're in the middle of Eastertide, and I think thinking is important. So think before you answer, but here's the question. What isn't the gospel? Go. Stop talking about volleyball. I need you. You're on the clock. What isn't the gospel? If you're new here, don't panic. We sometimes open the mic. You'll survive. It'll be fine. What isn't the gospel? Come on, Sue.
It's not a bunch of rules for membership.
Got it. Yeah. There's some autobiography there,
God helps
Sue.
those who help themselves.
Say that again.
God helps those who help themselves.
It's not misquotes. Oh boy, the news is so good these days. What isn't the gospel?
It's not something to use to attack one another.
Okay, so I'm realizing I have no monitor, so I have no idea what anyone is saying.
Oh, it's something not to use to attack one another.
Yep, still don't. I'm nothing. I
It's
heard
something-
pumpkins.
It's not something you use to attack one another.
Okay, so it's not something you use to attack. Okay, good. Like that. Regina, good to see your face. Come on, guys. What isn't the gospel? Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's not a prop.
A prop. Like a Better Business Bureau seal of approval, Southern Living seal of approval.
It's not for a select few.
Okay. So it's not limited in scope. Yep, way in the back. It's not a burden. Oh, it's getting really tight. I want the tightest definition we can get. So what could we cut away and it still be true? What isn't the gospel? Friends, the wife has spoken in the public assembly. Hey, Jay, call the Cubs. They're going to win the pennant, and Ferrari's going to win the cup. It's not Pete Hegseth doing what?
It's not Pete Hegseth citing a Pulp Fiction fake gospel verse.
Boy, that throws me off because that's a whole funny line in my sermon that's now going to be dumb. Nice. Were you reading my document this morning? It was open on. What isn't the gospel? Definitions matter. That's why I think I'm going to take a second here.
It's not a way to conquer others.
Oof, oof. How many centuries have we been working on that? Yeah. What isn't the gospel? And why would we start by defining what it isn't?
Just one word to me. It's not judgment.
Boom. Okay, that's pretty tight. Brimberry may have just put the seal of approval on that. Can anybody best Don Brimberry's "It's not judgment"? Oh, competition? It's not a competition, you said? That's good. Which has fewer letters, competition or judgment?
I'm saying this is not a competition.
Oh, well, it was, and now it's not, I guess. I feel suddenly ashamed. No, I don't, actually. It's important. Okay, you can dim the lights now. Thank you, Mark. It's important that we figure this out. Let me ask you this question if you just need to think about it a little more. Where has the church gotten this wrong? The definition of the gospel. And I wonder if, here's another frame on it, I wonder if you could tell me the difference between Christianity and the gospel. Now, if you're around here a lot, you've got an advantage because I talk a lot about that, actually. I really spend a lot of time talking about that. So then I guess you could flip it and say, so in your opinion, I might ask you, what actually is the message? And how can we make it as tightly defined as we can? See, if you cut close enough to the bone, you relieve everything that isn't bone without damaging the bone. That's what you're looking for in summary, right? You want to leave only the essential parts and nothing else. so that only what must be there is, everything else is not. That's the game. So on Thursday morning, I went back and I listened on YouTube because Caesar's in Africa, so we haven't posted our podcasts to Spotify. He's part of a PhD program in theology, and the ceremonies, because most of the students are in Africa, he had to go to Africa for the, what do they call it? What do you call it? The passing of the tassel or whatever that is. So he hasn't posted it, but I went back on Thursday and I watched it on YouTube, which I never like to do. It's really weird to be at the gym watching yourself on YouTube. I kind of tend to use the towel to cover the phone because it's kind of a strange thing to do. But I went back and listened on Thursday, and I think that last week's comments around the Easter evening where Jesus finds the disciples locked away, this whole business of fear and peace, and what is this all about, and what sort of authority does Jesus convey to his followers, and how have he misunderstood it? Those may have been some of the most important words I think I've ever spoken here. As I said last week, we're in the middle of the Great 50 Days, which some of you don't really know what that is. It's just that season after Easter. It's Eastertide. It goes from Easter all the way to Pentecost. It's the stretch that falls while Jesus is now in a resurrected body, still working among the people to figure out what needed to be polished so that they could be witnesses. And I'm not sure why the church called it great, or how they attach qualifiers like great to things, or how it got attached to the 50 days, but it's probably due to the pretty neat stuff Jesus was able to do with his body once it was post-resurrection. I happen to think it's great because it's our chance to think about our thinking, which might be my favorite hobby of all. So it's time to take inventory of the moving parts of our faith. It's time to take everything away that's non-essential, as I was saying. You might think of it as a time of refining or defining or even distilling. You wouldn't call it an easy process, of course, getting to the bottom of our faith. Most of the disciples crashed out pretty fast. Some of them even walked away and quit, at least at first. Things began to fall into place around Pentecost, but at least for these 50 days, for these 7 weeks or so, Jesus keeps encountering them hiding and quitting, hand-wringing, and sort of silent in fear. 12 times Jesus interprets their hiding and fear and redirects their energy towards the engaging of the world outside. He was, turns out, very keen to know that they had understood his vision and were capable of embodying it to an onlooking world. And I named this for us last week because John addresses it directly. Fear was the issue over and over again in these chapters between the resurrection and Pentecost. Over and over again, it says the disciples were gathered with locked doors because they were afraid. Fear is what made them hide and hesitate. They didn't find the courage, at least not immediately, to do what Jesus was asking them to do, and that's okay. Whatever time it takes will be worth it in the end. You see, you aren't a messenger if you carry the wrong message. Take the wrong news and run with it, and the whole thing falls apart. It's not the right news, which, of course, the whole thing did fall apart before it came together at Pentecost. Well, today's lectionary reading comes to us from Luke's memory, not John. And interestingly enough, just like last week, this story that Luke is about to tell, and of course it's only found in Luke, it happens on the very same day that Jesus was found by Mary of Magdala to be no longer dead. Turns out to be a very long day in Scripture. I'm not sure there's more written about any single 24-hour period in our text than this one. I'm not sure how Jesus manages to squeeze it all in. He had some sort of move around quick capacity, we're not really sure. But he goes from a tomb to multiple encounters with his friends. So according to Luke, that's what we're about to read this story. And it happened on the same evening as Easter, around sundown. So let's pick it up in chapter 24, Luke 24, 13 through 35. You would know it as the walk to Emmaus. Verse 13. Now on the same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. So as I said, that's the evening of the same day that Jesus was found by Mary to be alive. And now we get to see what Luke considers important. We've heard John on this, but now we get to see what Luke thinks is important. You know, Luke writes for very different reasons, and it turns out Luke ends up being one of the most important first contact historians of the movement of Jesus. He'll go on to write a book, you might know it, called the Book of Acts. It comes right after the Gospels in our New Testament. I generally preach from the teachings and the movements of Jesus. Maybe someday we'll do a series on the Acts of the Apostles. I'll just warn you, there's some crazy stuff found in the book of Acts. But Luke is the historian there. And he includes this conversation between Jesus and two people. We don't know male or female. Cleopas we think is a male, but we're not sure if it was a female or another fellow walking along with him, as they're discussing the crazy events of Easter Sunday. We don't know a ton about them as they travel on the road. Only we know the name of one, and the other remains nameless, and I'm so bothered by that in history. Honestly, if we're still telling the story, I think they deserve a name. What should we call it? Somebody say Ed or Frank or Wilbur. Doesn't matter. What we do know for sure is that they're super close to the movement of Jesus. In fact, it seems to me that they were among the others who were locked away with the disciples on Easter morning when Mary went to find the tomb empty. The text seems to hint at that. But they were obviously not residents of Jerusalem. They lived in a village about 7 miles away, and it was time to go home. You see, the Passover festivities were over. The tumultuous week had ended poorly for these two. Whatever they had hoped that Jesus would deliver, he didn't. It fell flat, and so they're on their way home. They spent the better part of that Sunday in Jerusalem with the other hopefuls, but as soon as the sun begins to dip in the western sky, it's time to get back to their lives because the week begins tomorrow. It would take just under 3 hours to walk that distance home, so they bid their adieus, gathered their things, and left sometime mid-afternoon. Now don't forget, faithful Jews were in the city that previous week taking care of religious duties. Passover was very important to them. There were sins to atone for. There was guilt to address. There were animals to slaughter, blood to spill, temple taxes and tariffs to pay. It seems like they should have stuck around. The way we read the history, there was a lot still going on. At least for a few days, they should have stayed in Jerusalem, I would think. But friends, a revolution wasn't going to happen. Not the way they had hoped, and so they're back to their lives. I think the way it all ended, with a mock trial and a bloody crucifixion, then a tomb that had been tampered with, I think it just freaked them out. So they did what you do when you travel to play a championship ball game in another city, but you get your butt handed to you, you go home and you figure out how to regroup for another season. Now don't forget, this crowd had been through a lot. This had been a roller coaster of hopes that they thought were fully embodied in Jesus right before they were dashed completely, publicly, undeniably. The temple thugs tried to crush this little uprising before it could find its wings. Murder was how the temple attempted to resolve things once and for all. It's so predictable, friends. History produces the example over and over again. It's so paralyzing, so on brand for religion, for organized religion. We'll just murder the person that's causing the problem. I think the women started to catch on, at least a little, but Luke hints at the same thing John does. The fellows around Jesus weren't in the habit of believing the ladies. You'll see that evidence as we go. Verse 17. And he says to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" Now, this is Jesus, the nosy, uninvited traveler, traveling along with them. And the second half of verse 17 I love. They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there these days?" The Greek translation there is, duh. He asked them, verse 19, "What things?" And they replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty indeed, and mighty indeed in word before God and all people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified." Now, friends, I don't know how to say this, but this is cringy Jesus. Jesus butting into conversations. As an introvert, friends, I'm just going to be honest with you. When someone walks up and starts a sentence with, "Hey, I couldn't help but notice." Listen, you literally could have helped but notice. Butt out of my business. You literally could have not looked over my shoulder and looked at my phone conversation. You could have not heard what we were saying. This happened to me just days ago in the Orlando airport. Hey, I couldn't help but, yes, you could help but notice. Butt out. I love that little embedded humor there in verse 17. They stood still looking sad. I wonder how you read that, because it makes me feel like it's one of those Jon Stewart moments where he pauses and he just looks at the camera with those eyes. It's more like, you have to be joking me. Who even are you, you annoying person who's butting in? When Jesus says, "What are you talking about?" Whatever. But it worked. It worked. They took the bait and began to unfold their disappointment to Jesus, who conceals his identity for whatever reason, while he pretended not to know what had literally happened to him and his close friends in the city that week. Notice, when asked what things, these guys reveal exactly what they're thinking about. And I think this is important to us. It was their loss that they were discussing, and they were assuming that it was someone else's fault. We call that scapegoating, and it's very common. The summary of their account might sound something like this in my own words. Our friend Jesus, who God and the people were beginning to accept as the one who was sent to deliver us, was murdered by religionists. They handed him over to the civil authorities who crucified him. That's what went wrong. That's why we're sad. Have you ever asked yourself why Jesus didn't spend these great 50 days seeking revenge? Friends, how do people come out of false accusations and false imprisonment? Very, very rarely do they come out super kind and soft to the outside world. Why did Jesus not spend these 50 days getting even with those who exacted a horrible, horrible punishment for him for no reason? Or at the very least, some sort of acquittal or some sham trial that he could have addressed the people involved. I'm imagining him haunting Caiaphas at night. Caiaphas. I mean, if you could walk through doors and do whatever, wouldn't that have been fun? Or Pontius Pilate, as he's trying to appease the Roman Caesar, he could have taunted him or something. Why didn't Jesus spend this time defending himself? Why is he tracking his friends around, trying to resolve their fear? For real, friends, Jesus, as far as we know, spends zero time pursuing his enemies after death had given him back. How does one love so intensely, so completely, that revenge feels like a waste of their precious time? Did Jesus have no unresolved anger, no pent-up hatred? If he had, and had he made a move to exact his pound of flesh for all that suffering and damage, friends, I'm certain those stories would have turned up in our text, because those would have gone a long way to prove to the audience of the friends of Jesus that Jesus' religion was superior to Judaism. But Jesus is not at all interested in arguing that. He never takes that bait. He doesn't care about that. He's only concerned comforting his friends and offering them peace to take the place of fear. Let's keep reading, verse 21. And this is Cleopas and his friends speaking to Jesus. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the third day since these things took place. Verse 22. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They went to the tomb early this morning. And when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels. Friends, it wasn't a vision. They actually saw angels. But of course, the boys didn't believe the girls, I guess, in this story. And they said that he was alive. Verse 24, some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him. And I think in some ways, friends, this is the heart of the story. Verse 21, Jesus tells us why these followers of Jesus lost track of him. Friends, they never actually understood the scope of his mission. I want to see if you can see what I see here. Let me ask you this. Who did Jesus come to heal and deliver? Who did Jesus come to save, if that language still works for you? Did you notice that these two disciples say this? We'd hoped that Jesus would deliver Israel. Israel. Not the poor, not the hurting, not the forgotten, or those considered unclean, or people thought of as outcasts. They thought Jesus had come to deliver Israel. The very same day Jesus leaves an empty tomb behind him, they're already making national assumptions of the scope of his work. Oh, friends, we aren't the only ones to assume that this is our private, personal little Jesus superhero figurine sent to fight our battles on our behalf. This feels super important to me these days, friends, for obvious reasons, given how often the word Christian gets thrown around in the public arena. We need to think critically about Jesus now and what he means. Anytime, and hear me closely, a modifier or a qualifier or a limitation or a false category of some kind is put on love or freedom or life or any other language used to represent God, including the name Jesus, friends, anytime that is done, the scope of that impact is modified. Beware, you're looking at religion, not at God. And they're not the same. Y'all, God doesn't have a people. How many times do we have to say this until it sinks in? All people are God's people. No, I know there are particular sacred texts that claim a certain priority status on the chosen favorites. Actually, whoever wrote those things down, I understand that every sacred text is important. They all shed some light. They all speak from a unique and needed perspective. And they were all created to promote and defend a particular way of seeing the world. I get it. Every sacred text says something worth saying, but in no way does a single take contain the sum total of everything God ever revealed or everything truth ever unfolded and needed to be written down. Friends, truth is not the same as exhaustive. Trustworthiness is not the same as exclusivity. Perhaps I'll say it this way. One of the major reasons the friends of Jesus failed to understand his message was because they incorrectly understood its focus and scope. I wonder if that makes sense. They were right. Jesus had not managed to deliver Israel. He didn't come to do that. The truth is, his way of love delivered all living things from the erroneous idea that death ends all. Verse 25. Then he said to them, and this is Jesus speaking, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Verse 27, then beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. You see, these guys were struggling to connect the dots. And now we know why. It was the suffering Jesus had to endure that confused them. They appreciated the miracles, they loved the glory, but the suffering didn't fit into the way they interpreted their sacred text. They were looking for a Messiah, it's true, but not a suffering Messiah. Most of us, like them, think we need a deliverer to relieve us of the suffering in our lives. And I want to be careful here because I don't pretend to know how much you have personally suffered. And I certainly don't want to be dismissive of what you're currently surviving. In all likelihood, friends, you've suffered way more than me. I've had a pretty good life, honestly. So I want to be careful, but I want to be kind and I want to be clear. Remember, these guys walking along the road that day were aware that Jesus had bounced back from the dead. At least the women had said so. And if that's the case, why in the world are they still wondering if Jesus could possibly be the one? There must have been something still making them second guess, right? Friends, it was the suffering. They couldn't make it square with their expectations because they knew that if Jesus had to go through hardships, not around them, that he had to go through them, that they would have to do the same. And wouldn't it just be way cooler if they could avoid them altogether? You get my drift, friends. A deliverer is supposed to actually deliver people from pain, not teach them to understand it and integrate it and remain steady regardless. A deliverer is supposed to help you go around it, go under it, go over it, not understand it and integrate it as you go through it. The people around Jesus were a little bit like, they prayed prayers like this: obliterate our enemies, God. Not prayers like this one: prepare a banquet table so I can eat peacefully in the presence of those who think that I'm their enemy. They prayed prayers like this: bless the bombs we're about to rain down on the infidel heathen's head. Jesus offers instead, teach me to love those who think that I'm their enemy. And then Jesus H. Christ. You ruined my joke, baby. Pulp Fiction is way better than Ezekiel. Anyway, reading on. Now I'm curious how funny that would have been had we not ruined that one. Verse 28. So as they come near the village, what a conversation this must have been. If I could pop into any conversation unwelcomed and uninvited, this might be the one. Verse 28, and as they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he was going on. I love how Jesus just pretends here. Full Academy Award for this. But they urged him strongly, saying, stay with us because it's almost evening and the day is now nearly over. So he went to stay with them. Well, by this time, they were beginning to at least appreciate the history lesson. They were curious to hear more, not to mention concerned in all likelihood about his safety of their new friend as should he continue to walk on into the night. And this, friends, literally sets the table for the big reveal. Verse 30, when he was at the table with them, he took bread, Jesus takes over, blessed and broke it, and he gave it to them. Then, verse 31, their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. Instead of just saying, come on guys, it's me, you should recognize me, he takes charge of the table liturgy, and somewhere in that familiar repetition, their eyes are opened. And I don't know if these two were there with Jesus and the others in the upper room last Thursday night when Jesus did the very same little routine, but something clicked and they became aware of with whom they had been walking and talking. Which ironically, and to their disappointment, I'm sure was the very instant Jesus vanished. Poof, gone. And if I had to choose which post-resurrection super cool superpower to have, I would for sure pick the ability to vanish over being able to walk through closed doors. Friends, introverts don't want to be where people are anyway, much less if the doors are closed and we're unwelcome. But this ability to just go, poof, I'm out of here, this is the one I want, Jesus. I'll take that skill. Verse 32. They turn to each other and they say, were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us? I love this verse so much. What a beautiful way of describing the physical sensation of encountering Jesus. Their hearts were literally burning while he spoke to them and wove it all together. I feel, friends, that same bodily sensation when processing with good friends, when the kind of processing eventually leads to integration and understanding of what has occurred. I feel that same thing in my body. I wonder if you do. Now, I don't know if he opened the scriptures or opened their minds to the scriptures. I kind of doubt that he was walking along with 5 or 6 huge scrolls rolling from Moses through the prophets, rolling back and forth like some thicky dum-dum trying to figure out how to understand just war theory written over 1,000 years of history. I doubt he was walking along rolling through a Palm Pilot or an iPhone. Either way, I think he opened their hearts to what was the same. The result is the same. They understood. And as always, understanding came with a bodily sensation, a bodily reaction. And finishing this story, verse 33, that same hour, so much for not traveling at night, they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11. Of course, Judas wasn't with them now, and their companions gathered together. And they were saying, the Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon. Then they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of bread. So what do we make of this story? It's a centerpiece of Christianity. It's one of the most significant post-resurrections apparitions that we have access to in our tradition. And I wonder what feels encouraging to you here. Well, dropping us back into our context in which we find ourselves, Jesus is finding his terrified, confused friends. He's interrupting their isolation and their disappointment. He's trying his best to catch them up. Jesus is trying to help his friends connect the dots and understand the message he spent his whole life preaching. None of this was novel, friends, but they were stuck all the same. They'd seen his resurrected body, which the way we read the text seems to prove that he was who he said he was, but it wasn't enough for them. There was too much sadness and disappointment to sort through. But they'd seen his body with all the wonder and amazement that encounter surely provoked. Still, they were stuck. 7 miracles, according to John, it takes to win them over, and 12 apparitions it takes to keep them from falling apart. Remember, friends, the Great 50 Days is our chance to define and refine our understanding of the message of Jesus. And if last week's encounter with the disciples who Jesus found hiding behind locked doors could be summarized, it might sound like this: go and preach peace to those who have been impaired by religious fear. If you don't remember how it all unfolded, go back and listen to the podcast. The summary of last week: don't be afraid, have peace instead. And by the way, this is the message you take to the world. Well, today's summary might sound like this: preach convergence, connection, and integration. Step into spaces where people are doing their very best to figure things out, and point out where things integrate if you can. Last week, I asked you to imagine how different the world would be if we only preached peace and acceptance instead of sin and hell and shame. Well, today I'm asking you to consider what our movement would be like if we offered integration instead of dogma and doctrine and endless defense of a single point of view. We struggle to understand how these guys couldn't have seen that it was Jesus processing alongside them, friends. But hear me closely. People are hard to recognize when they aren't where you left them. When you think you know exactly what you're looking for, they're hard to find when they're not there, friends. Certainty causes blindness. Guys, no one was looking for a suffering Messiah. Everyone wants to be delivered from unnecessary pain, but Jesus teaches by example that dying is the portal to new life. But who signs up for that? Finding something depends on looking in the right place. Mary expected him to be stinky and stiff. Cleopas didn't expect him to engage in their conversation, the conversation of 2 heartbroken travelers on a dark road home that night. Oh, friends, 90% of finding is looking in the right place. Be honest. Be honest, think about your life. Did you expect to find happiness after tragedy? Did you expect to discover love after death and loss? Did you really think you'd find God in the eyes of the poor or the forgotten or the marginalized? Were you prepared to find love in the eyes of your enemy? You see how tricky this all is? It's hard to find the answer when it turns up where you thought it could never turn up. But that's the genius of life, isn't it? That's the counterintuitive nature of the message of Jesus anyway. That much I can tell you with certainty. This final thought, and it's a whole page long, so don't rush. Sometimes there's 3 final thoughts. This is just one. It's just kind of long. When Jesus needs to speed awareness along, he finds people in the midst of struggle and disappointment and fear. He takes them on an integrative journey of the symbols that mean the most to them. Cleopas says he spoke of everything from Moses to the prophets. I don't know what that might be for you, but whatever it is for you, Jesus will speed your awareness along by holding those things and weaving them together. He's not shaming anyone for struggling, and he's not defending himself by quoting scripture and trying to prove anything. Instead, he's weaving together all available forms of truth and revelation, friends, because everything belongs. True religion integrates. It never divides or pits one party against another. Instead, it weaves all things together. Jesus was a terrible Jew because he was a wonderful mystic. Jesus made an awful Christian because he lives in the convergence of all things revealed everywhere, not just in one single thread of Western civilization. Just think, friends, what if our message was this? What if ours was a message of contribution to a hungry world who already had some things that they know for sure, but they couldn't weave them together? What if we were like St. Patrick, where we show up into a place with a new language and simply say, oh, your crops look good this year, God must love you. You're with child, God must be bestowing grace on you. Not convert and conform to the realm or die. Oh, friends, what could the world look like? You tell me, where can we be certain to find the Spirit of God if perchance you're looking? Where can we be sure to locate Jesus if that interests you? I'll tell you where people are literally trying to walk off serious loss and death and disappointment, where they search desperately for a way to hold it all together, even the suffering. Friends, don't look in temples or cathedrals or religious gatherings for the Spirit of God. Look where people are dying to hang on to anything to integrate the broken things that they've lost. What death didn't give way to something lovely? What loss didn't make room for breathtaking new life? What deep craving to make sense of things isn't automatically accompanied by the presence of God to help bring peace and understanding? Oh, welcome to the great 50 days, to the great season of Eastertide, where we are reminded that all things, friends, are being made new.
Sometimes to recognize the new, you have to go back and find the Moses. We're going to sing one of my grandma's favorite songs that I just can't get over in times like this, that we need it.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy compassions, they fail not, as thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see, and all I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter, springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see, and all I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Would y'all stand with us to sing this last verse?
Pardon for sin and peace that endureth, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings, oh mine, with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, morning by morning, new mercies I see, and all I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Thank you, guys. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff, y'all. Think of the sweetness of that moment. Think of the tenderness of the moment. I think of all the times I would have least wanted Jesus to appear in the back of one of my conversations butting in. It would have been when I was disappointed and walking away and saying, you know what? Didn't work out. Does anybody else in this room feel ashamed when they quit something and turn away and like, ugh? And it's in those moments that Jesus finds them with this, essentially this tender invitation. It sounded like this. Come on, guys, let's just eat something. How many parents in the room, that remains your one piece of leverage over your college child? Long after, hey, mom, dad, what do you think about this? It's, listen, we're making braciole today. All right, we'll be there. What a sweet and tender thing. Friends, our religion is not one that force convinces anyone of anything. Guys, it's a way of integrating all things we know to be true. In what place did he do that any better than at the table where even traitors were welcome? Where the leader of the 12, at least if you take that read on Peter, he certainly turned out to be in the book of Acts the leader of the 12, where he literally walks into the room and says, "You're not washing my feet, not on a Thursday. Nope, you're the Lord and I'm the servant here." And Jesus says, "You've got it upside down, because if I can't wash your feet, then you don't have any part with me." On that same night, with that much confusion, in that same room, Jesus says, "When you gather around this tender invitation." So let me prepare us for that now. If you've been around here a minute, you know how it works. At the base of the stained glass, that if you look closely, tells the story of the life of Jesus. At the base, you'll find a cracker. Dip it in the cup. It's all gluten-free. Don't be concerned. We'll do that during the next song. Let me prepare us for that now. Almighty God, to whom all hearts are open and all desires are known, where could we hide from your love? Remind us right now of our cleansing, which happened long ago by your Spirit, that we may perfectly love you as you perfectly love us through Christ our Lord. And Christ, our example and friend, the one who stands with us even in the weak moments, invites each of us to a place at a common table that we don't own, that we'll never control, but will always have a spot with our name on it. So as we wholeheartedly seek to live and walk in love and peace and justice and the good work of advocacy with ourselves, with one another, with society at large, let us now in so doing turn our hearts completely to God with these words. Pray them with me. Merciful God, we believe that you accept our heartfelt confessions today. Knowing you to be gentle and kind, even when we are not, we confess we have been distracted, at times lacking in love. We have failed to love our neighbor as ourselves because we have failed to love ourselves as you do. So forgive us, we pray, and free us to be a people of peace through Jesus Christ our Lord. And he took the elements they were having for dinner that day. Didn't seem to be a lot of protein on the menu. Lifted bread, old world wheat. Don't worry, if you had celiac disease, you'd have been okay at the Last Supper. If you couldn't drink wine, I'm not sure what would happen, but anyway, he lifted the bread and he broke it and he passed it out. And then he passed the cup around and sealed the deal. Pray these words with me as we commemorate this moment. We do it every week. I know for some it might get boring, but I think anything can become routine if you let it. I just think there's always a meaning in an open invitation to all. You might think they're your enemy sitting next to you, but they're not. You might think that just because people hate you and revile you and make the world tight around you and call you all sorts of names, you might think that they won't be at the table, friends, but I don't know how to break this to you. It's a table for all. And there's a few invitations I would like to rescind, or at the very least get lost in the mail. And I have to say this, my spiritual work is not to increase my hate for my enemies, because I don't have them. My spiritual work is to lay down my desire to be the only one at the table. As many years as it took us in the church in America to open the table to people from the queer community, the LGBTQ plus community, as many years as it took us to open that table, we thought we were giving access to something we controlled. The reality is they were always at the table. We were the ones at the door arguing about who was going to be in and who wasn't. You'll never get spiritual fuel or things that help you thrive and produce life in you by curating lists of people you hate that you don't think are welcome. Friends, that's not the gospel of Jesus. I know that's the brand of Christianity, which is why I follow Jesus. Marry Jesus, date Christianity on rare occasion when bored. When in strange city with nothing else to do, perhaps date Christianity, but friends, marry the gospel of Jesus, who comes back from the most heinous public death with no axe to grind. Think of it. And he welcomes those he loves to a table, and he says, now go welcome everyone to the same table. It's not that complicated, and it doesn't take a degree to figure it out. It takes a big heart and open hands. And let's pray these words as we approach the table. Our Father and Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Isn't it so hard for most of us to find the kind of patience that will trust the slow, steady work of God beneath the surface, every moment working for our good? 'Cause under all the snow is something green, hiding in the winter is the spring, and I know it will take the barren field of heartbreak a little time to rain to fall. I will not hang my head, His banner is over me. He says that I am His poetry. He won't waste a word. So I'm gonna wait. I'll wait on the Lord. Surely I've been wrong along the way, but I won't be crushed by my mistakes. He calls me His friend, and all I see is where I've been. I hear Him tell me where I'm going. I will not hang my head, His banner is over me. He says I am His poetry, and He won't waste a word. So I'm gonna wait. I'll wait on the Lord.
There's no wound that He cannot heal. There's no child too far gone. I'm the clay on His spinning wheel, and He knows where I've become. Sing this with us. I will not hang my head, His banner is over me. He says I am His poetry. You're always the word. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'll wait on the Lord. Come on, India.
Hey, y'all. Today's benediction comes from David Nix. We are a people of walls. Walls around our family, which we call housing. Walls around our money in the form of banks and accounts and cybersecurity. Walls around our churches, which we call anything from denomination to we're the only ones who are going to heaven. Walls around our towns as social custom and shared history and rules. Literal walls around our nation backed by tanks, fighter jets, and armed men. And we are not unique in the world. We are the norm. But walls are a manifestation of fear. Fear of those unlike us. And fear begets violence and oppression against those outside our walls. To justify our actions, we build altars inside our walls and claim that God is there and nowhere else in the world. On our side, nodding in agreement and blessing our misdeeds, no matter how dire. Here's the thing. When Jesus predicted that the temple walls would be torn down such that no stone remained stacked on another, he did not mean just the temple. He meant all walls, all temples, all boundaries, all divisions, all disunity, all mistrust, all othering. And it is only through the removal of walls that we will ever achieve what we need most, the absence of fear. Church, take up your sledgehammers, find the walls, and get to work. Go in peace.